Yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The Bears actually pulled this one off. All right, here we go.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't hear that.
Welcome to Chicago, where the fire serve cold, with the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Rock and Big Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is the TCSF Bears post-game show. Hey, with E-Rock and Big Z. Z, I'm Z. You're E-Rock.
That's right.
E, this Bears game's got me, flustered, dude.
That was a lot of back and forth. I think it was really surprising to see what the Bears did today, considering the fact that we didn't know what to expect out of this team.
I didn't expect the Bears to win. Did you?
I did. I expected the Bears to have a chance in this game, but I think it was really dependent on what we saw out of Andy Dalton. And I think the biggest shock of the game is the fact that we actually saw Justin Fields play significant minutes in this game.
Yeah, that was because of the injury to Andy Dalton, that push that he got that wasn't flagged. But God forbid we touched their quarterback. Oh, no. Yeah, put a flag on that.
Yeah, you look at them funny and they're coming after you. So, I mean, look, I think it was very refreshing to see what the Bears actually did on offense. I think there was a lot of really important plays that happened on defense. I think that was the thing. My concern is that because of what the defense did, we are going to hype up we know what they can do, but this was the best case scenario for the defense, right?
Yeah, the offense hasn't showed up. Let's be honest here. Besides that first drive, the offense didn't.
Montgomery showed up.
Montgomery, what do you have, 60 yards? Montgomery looked like, Montgomery has 61 yards and 20 carries. Not his fault. Not his fault.
No, and
the play calling was horrible.
Well, not necessarily, because here's the thing. I think this game, as far as their game plan, knowing what they wanted to do in the game, we knew that before the game actually started that they really wanted to get Justin Fields involved. We knew that there was about 25% of the plays that the Bears wanted to get him involved with. And the fact is that I think because they had a game plan in place, once they saw Andy Dalton go down, they said, okay, well, this is our opportunity. We don't have to worry about is the kid ready, at least for this game, because he's been game planning all week.
The kid looked good. I mean, he's got a couple hiccups, and this is expected with the false starts. Yeah. That's because he's twitching his feet when he's clapping, and he got called like 3 of them on him, and then he also holding the ball a little bit too long and it got swiped up.
He was excited to be in there, but I think he was ready. He does have that little twitch because don't forget, this is a rookie quarterback. This is the first time he's seen any significant minutes in the NFL, and I think that the nice thing was to see Andy Dalton encouraging him instead of sitting back there and pouting like we used to see G. Cutler do. That's a big difference. But I was very surprised. I'll say I was pleasantly surprised into seeing what Justin Fields actually was able to do on the field, considering the fact that he was chucking it down the field.
He was.
He needs to quicken up on his decision making, whether he's going to start throwing it down the field or he's going to run, because like you said before, he does hold on to the ball a little bit longer.
Then that comes with time. That's him reading the progressions. Like, okay, one is covered, 2 is covered, 3 is covered, and his safety valve is something that he doesn't really realize he can use, which is Cole Kmet.
Well, Cole Kmet really needs to get involved in the game, and part of the problem is that they haven't really needed him. They've actually been chucking the ball down the field. You look at the fact that Darnell Mooney really got involved early on in the game, and we didn't really see anything from Allen Robinson until that touchdown catch. Now, when we think about what happened today with the defense, I think that was the pleasant surprise. That was the thing that we did not expect, but that's the 2018 defense that we saw. So what I told you, I wonder if Sean Desai called up Vic Fangio over the weekend.
Yeah, I think he did call and did not call collect. He used No, the defense showed up, and part of it is that the Bengals offensive line is not as great either, because they gave up 4 sacks last week.
Right.
So for us to give, I think we got like 4 or 5 this week. So that's really good, encouraging news to see that the Bears are actually attacking the quarterback, because it helps out the secondary. If you have that push up front, guess what? Now they can't throw the ball deep. And that's where our biggest liability is.
You know, the biggest concern for me is the fact that they were up 20-3.
Yep.
And the game ended 17-20, and that's including 3 consecutive interceptions by the defense.
Right.
One that they were able to capitalize on, but not in the way that you expected.
No,
you
they got
the one.
They got 3 points for it.
Yeah, you got 3 points for the one. But Roquan did run the ball back for a touchdown, would put you up a little bit ahead. But the fact that you went 3 consecutive and you only came out with 20 points, that's a problem, because as we know in the NFL, 20 points is not typically enough to actually win a game.
Not enough. This is 1994. You can't win with 20 points. Tom Waddle's not on the field.
Right. And that was, you know, and even though Burrow gave up those 3 consecutive interceptions, look at what he did to come back in the game.
Yep.
You know, the Bengals got really excited and jumped on that route because, hey, again, Justin Fields, a rookie, he does not have that experience in the NFL, and he gets picked off because he doesn't see the defender coming underneath.
Here's a stat that you're not going to like. Joe Burrow had 207 yards of offense. The Bears had 206 yards of offense as a team.
You know, that's interesting, because the fact is that there was a couple of plays. You got to remember, when those penalties kick in, that takes away from your total yardage. So when you have a big play, and we look at it with the eye test and says, oh, that was a great play. Well, there was a pick, or there was a weird penalty, or there was a little twitchy feet for Justin Fields, and that actually subtracts from the yards that you've already made in the game.
Very true. We got some listeners right here. We talking about Alec Ogletree, right? That's the new guy. New guy to the Bears, not new guy to the NFL, making a play in his second game with the Bears. Then Roquan is Roquan of old. Roquan
is my favorite defender on the Chicago Bears. He has been for a while. I mean, I like Khalil Mack, but I mean, considering the fact that Roquan Smith is not a local guy, but he's a guy that was drafted by the Bears. Homegrown, exactly. So, drafted high by the Chicago Bears. And he's really shown what he can do. He had a little bit of blip early on in his career, but it seems that he's overcome that. And I think one of the most important things today was the fact that we saw both Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn get to the quarterback.
Yes, you did. Yeah, Roquan Smith with 5 tackles, 3 assists, 1 sack, 1 interception. You got Duke Shelley, guy who got just activated this week, with 5 tackles and an assisted one. Then you had Bilal Nichols with 3 and 1, Hicks with 3 and 1, and our biggest other thing is Angelo Blackson, who I had no idea who this guy was, and I was like, who is this new guy? Yeah. He's got an interception.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the league for a couple years. Interesting enough, when we look at the splits between Justin Fields and Andy Dalton, Andy Dalton was 9 of 10 for 56 yards and a touchdown, and Fields was 6 for 13 with 60 yards, no touchdowns in the pick. So we saw him do his scramble. We saw him. He does have a long way to go in the NFL, and I think that's one of the biggest concerns with the offense is that there's a lot of things going on with this team right now, whether it has to do with Andy Dalton versus Justin Fields, whether it has to do with the secondary and how much they miss Kyle Fuller, whether it has to do with the fact that they're actually trying to run the ball, what's going to happen with Allen Robinson at the end of the year. You got the young guy Komet versus Jimmy Graham, who neither one was anything today. So I mean, there is a lot of different moving parts in this thing. One thing that kind of occurred to me during the week was the fact that a lot of people are saying that the Bears are holding on to Justin Fields because they want to have some job security. Now, with what's going on with Green Bay and what happened with the Packers last week and how Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have not really seen eye to eye in the last couple of years, I wonder if they're kind of banking, or if they were banking on the fact that if he's gone, the division is going to be a little bit easier to win.
Right. That's pretty much what they were thinking, is that this division is ours if Aaron Rodgers is out of it. Right. And that's going to happen in the next couple of years, because Aaron Rodgers said he doesn't want to play for Green Bay anymore. All right, great, whatever.
Right.
That's Green Bay business. That's not Bears business.
Right.
So for us, our biggest issue is Matt Nagy calling plays. Should he give it up again to Laser?
I wasn't mad at the plays that they called today. The way that they used the run game, I don't think they really did anything that was particularly stupid. I will say that the most frustrating thing that happened today was the fact that I saw Allen Robinson completely and totally whiff on a touchdown. Yeah. This is supposed to be your number 1 wide receiver. This is something that we saw Javon Wims, who is no longer on the team, drop in the playoffs last season right through his arms. So, I mean, of all people who is most sure-handed, Allen Robinson is that guy. And they are really, really going to need Allen Robinson to be that guy that they know he can be if they want Justin Fields to be successful, especially considering the fact that if Andy Dalton's hurt, he's going to have to start next week.
And that's what I told you when they put the kid in. I was like, Allen Robinson just said, throw me the ball.
Yeah.
Just throw me the damn ball.
Yeah, throw me the ball, but you got to catch it, sir.
Right. Now you got to catch it because he put it only where he can catch it.
Absolutely.
So he used the defender as a guy to like, oh, I'm going to be outside on the sideline. I'll throw it right in. I'll just drop it right in, and it went right through the breadbasket.
So now that we watched both Andy Dalton today, we watched Justin Fields, but we also watched Joe Burrow. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know about Joe Burrow, the way he came out of college playing for LSU and doing well, and I want to say they won a championship, and then what he went through last year, the way that he kind of came out on fire, who would you choose for your future quarterback right now? Would it be Justin Fields or would it be Joe Burrow?
I think it's kind of unfair because he has the advantage of playing almost a year in the NFL where Justin Fields is just starting his career. Mm-hmm. So we know there's a small sample size compared to no sample size. They both came from very big, successful programs. Yeah. So if I were to say right now, I'm going to take Justin Fields just for the fact that I think he's more of an athletic quarterback. His passes looked a little bit more accurate, but Burrow has way more weapons on offense.
Not necessarily, though, because you look at what the Bengals actually have on offense. Yes, you have T. Higgins. You have a couple of good receivers on that team. But, when we look at the way that Montgomery has come out so far this season, the way that he's being patient, this reminds me of Le'Veon Bell in his prime where he was nice and patient, waiting for the hole to open up, gets down there and gets his yardage. David Montgomery in the last two games, because we really didn't talk about that Rams game, nor should we, because that was just an embarrassment. But seeing David Montgomery finding the hole so far, I'm hoping this is a sign of things to come for at least the next 2, 3 years, 4 years, because we all know running backs don't last very long in this league.
They don't.
But considering the fact that we're watching him actually develop in front of our eyes, at least to start this season, that's very encouraging. But that's something that's going to have to be.
It's got to be part of the scheme.
It's got to be a big part of their arsenal. You look at Montgomery. Okay, you look at Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson. They got Goodwin. You got Damian Williams. These are all very good and very fast offensive players. Mm-hmm. So if you can get out in the open field, Justin Fields has the type of ability to be accurate and get that ball where it needs to go. So when I think about the weapons that they have a pretty good mix of younger guys like Mooney and Kmet, and then older guys like Allen Robinson and Goodwin. And those. I feel like they have a very good balance of their receiving core right now and their offensive weapons, but they all have to be playing up to their full potential in order for Justin Fields to be successful in this rookie season.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, they made the adjustment of having just 10-yard plays in the LA Ram game to actually throwing down the field and expanding it a lot more, actually dedicating to the run. Those are big keys to getting an offensive line into rhythm. If you run the ball, give them time to find their spots to be able to, hey, I know how to manage this guy. Hey, let's move or let's do a scheme to push the defense off to the right so we can go left and all, vice versa. You've got to be able to get that offensive line into a rhythm, and they kind of did that in that first series. You saw that they moved the ball with ease, and Montgomery was able to maneuver through the offensive line. Fields, he's going to be your wild card because he's going to be able to either run or pass. And you RPO that, and they have to defend that and respect it. So that's one of the biggest things again. And then you have your speedsters, like you said, Williams and Mooney. Oh, is it time? Oh, it's time.
It is.
You have both of your speedsters who can stretch the field if you throw downfield. And I get it. Allen Robinson is your number one, and if he's going to be double covered, that's great. Then he becomes a decoy, and the rest of the guys are going to be open. One person who was open and was not used in the last two games was Cole Kmet. I know they're using him for pass blocking because the offensive line needs help, but give this guy some receptions.
He did get that one catch, which was called back because of that tiny little push, which I thought was nonsense.
That was within 5 yards. That's BS.
This game in general, the flags were flying. I don't know what was going on with this. the refs in this game, but this is what I'll say is that when you look at the skill players on both teams, these are both very young guys. When you look at the fact that when Justin Fields came in as a rookie, you got Joe Burrow as a second-year player, and a lot of the players around them are either rookies or second-year players. That's a lot of where your penalties came from. But Cole Kmet was involved, and that's the thing is that if you can get him the ball, he can be a bruiser. I feel like they should have targeted him in the end zone, and they didn't. And like I said, I'm very glad. I'm happy that they got this win to open the home opener for the Chicago Bears.
Yep, that's important.
So now we're 1-1, and now we have to go to Cleveland to face the Browns.
Not on vacation though, right?
No, never.
Oh, okay, good. The Cleveland Steamer it's going to be a tough game. I don't know if your boy who lives in the stadium over there is going to be available. He was in and out of the game with a shoulder injury, I remember.
Mayfield, yeah.
Yeah, he was out with a shoulder injury. He came back. I don't know what his stats were for the rest of the game. But that's a tough defense to play against. And you cannot have the ball 3 times and not score. They won, right?
So, I mean, the Browns did win today. They beat the Texans 31-21, it looks like.
Yeah.
That game.
Yeah, 31-21. You're right.
So, and that's a team with Tyrod Taylor at the helm. Look, Baker Mayfield, I think we kind of know what he is at this point. He's a guy that's going to get you where you need to go, and he does have very good offensive weapons on that team. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt together, that is a two-headed monster that is going to be hard to take down because Nick Chubb is a beast of a man. So if that defensive line is not up to par, if they're not as aggressive as they were today, then they're going to have problems in that game.
Yeah, one of the big things was on these interception was Eddie Jackson. He was all over the field, but not overzealous. And the biggest things for Eddie Jackson is do your job and play your scheme. And guess what? Things will happen for you. If you're like trying to get an interception, you're going to get burnt. And he did that in that one play.
Yeah. And that's Eddie Jackson to a T. I mean, I think that's what we know what to expect out of that guy now. Now, granted, the fact that his name is Eddie, I'm going to be an automatic fan of his. But I mean, look, he got his money, and a lot of people are saying that now that he got paid, that he's taking his foot off the gas. He's not trying as hard. And he actually came out earlier on in the season and said that, I owe it to the Bears to give the best, no more excuses, so on and so forth. And I think so on in the season, we really haven't seen that because even in the play where the Bears got burned after they gave up the interception.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
I don't even know if there was an interception. It was just they didn't score. And Bengals ended up getting the ball back. It was Kendall Vildor and Eddie Jackson basically picked each other off when Tyler Boyd got that touchdown. So, look, the secondary is definitely going to be concerned for the entire season.
Wait, this kid's name is Kendall and he can't read a defense?
Wow. Yeah, dad jokes from the non-dad. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's once again, stay in your lane, son. But yeah, look, Baker Mayfield, he had an okay game today. He was 19 for 21 for 213 yards, 1 tutty, 1 interception. Nick Chubb, though, 11 carries, only 11 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. Mayfield also ran in for a touchdown, and don't forget Kareem Hunt on that team. So, look, you do have some. But you know what it is that, you got Odell Beckham out on that team. You have Jarvis Landry out because he's got an injury. So, these receivers that they're running out there, they're not exactly big-name guys. Rashard Higgins, you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, Demetric Felton, never heard of that guy. Harrison Bryant, never heard of that guy. Austin Hooper is a very good tight end, so we know who that is. And David Njoku is actually in there, too. They got a couple of guys that we know. The tight ends are known. Their running backs are known. But right now, they don't have a big-name receiver. Now, sometimes that'll put you to sleep thinking that, you don't have to try as hard because this guy doesn't have anything. And those are the ones that always hurt you the most.
Yeah, but it's still 31 points. What did we score? 20. That's a win in their book. So
definitely.
We've got to score more points. I mean, 20 points is, again, not going to do it in the NFL.
Now, to be fair, I mean, like I said, Justin Fields did not start the game. Andy Dalton actually looked pretty decent. And when we looked at the splits, we're not looking at, at some huge discrepancy between what the two quarterbacks did today. I think that we actually saw something out of Andy Dalton that I think could actually show them as a successful team. But again, once the defense made their plays, it's like feast or famine with these guys. They have these really amazing plays where they got those interceptions and they were aggressive and they get their hands up and they're knocking the ball down and all that good stuff. But then when they just kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit, they just let the other team go all over the place.
Yeah, it's like when you dated in your teens and the girl got you really hot and then you have to go home. So pretty much what the Bears need to do is score more points, put some more yards on offense, and the defense needs to do what they were doing, and the special teams play well as well.
I think overall this was a pretty complete game for the Chicago Bears. Hopefully this is something they can build on. I know that we, after what happened with the Rams last week, a lot of people lost confidence and they were just calling for Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace and Andy Dalton's heads. But let's be fair. We look at, I think the fact that we watched Justin Fields when he does scramble and he gets around the corner and he actually turns the corner faster than any Bears quarterback that I've ever seen. Okay, this is the kind of stuff where it's within Mitch Trubisky's skill set. He's just not as good at Fields doing the same thing. So scrambling, with the accuracy, because Mitch Trubisky had an arm, and the thing we see out of Justin Fields, he throws a laser. I think one of the things that he has to work on is figuring out the touch that he needs to throw that football.
That in his reads, he has to go through his progressions. He's like bailing a little too quickly or holding to the ball a little too low. So it's a rookie thing. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that he did say in the preseason game that he played was that everything seemed a lot slower than he was expecting. So that's a good thing. That means that he's already has a leg up, because any sport that you play, when you have to react in split-second fashion, that eventually time slows down for you, and that's when you know that you're ready to go. So I think that it's good for us to see Justin Fields in this capacity, to see what he has the potential to do, and we'll see what he does if he has to start next week. That'll be a really interesting game. So what is your prediction for next week against these Browns? Is it a win? Is it a loss? What does it look like?
To me, my prediction is about 17 to 28 Browns.
17 to 28 Browns?
I think right now, I think if they're going to have to start Justin Fields, they're gonna do some little tricky things that Matt Nagy likes to do instead of having just a solid game plan. Because I feel like a lot of times that Matt Nagy's whole thing is that he's trying to overcompensate for deficiencies instead of just focusing on what you do well. He's trying to do a lot of misdirection, a lot of trick plays and things like that, which is cute when you're sitting with established veterans and you know what they can do, and essentially they just become predictable over time. But you can't do that with a guy that no one knows anything about yet. Don't get me wrong, there's tons of tape on Justin Fields, but there's tons of tapes on high school and college Justin Fields. We don't know what he is in the NFL yet, and I think the big hope is that he can become something, but we have to be patient. Yeah,
definitely patience is going to be key for the rest of the season. Everyone's been calling for Justin to play. He played today.
Yep.
Did he make mistakes? Yeah. Did he make some good plays? Yeah. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get that mixed bag every single game that he plays.
I think the most encouraging thing was to see that accuracy that he did have on that pass that he threw to Allen Robinson. It was right in that breadbasket. And Allen this is not typical of him. He's known as one of the most reliable receivers in the league. That's why he's going to be very sought after if they don't get him on a long-term contract. But look, I will say, number one, this is a first step in the progression of Justin Fields. We will see if he's forced into action next week. I kind of feel like after what we saw today out of both of them, there's no clear-cut one better than the other. No,
not at all. I mean, the only thing that Dalton has on field is experience, and be able to see the defense and make some adjustments at the line. But they literally had a mirror of a game. One had a touchdown, one had an interception, but yards pretty much the same. And I think they did well. I think they both did well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the biggest question is if Justin Fields would have balled out today and just had if Allen Robinson would have caught that football.
It's a different game.
If Allen Robinson would have caught that football, I would tell you 100% for sure right now that Justin Fields would be starting next week. And you look at the way that he the cohesiveness with a brand new receiver who he hasn't played with before except for this little bit of preseason. if we see him making a play like that in a completion, he's not rattled as much early or later where he has to make plays. You know what I mean?
Not at all. I mean, the throw to what's his name, Goodwin, that was high, but it was only where he can catch it.
Correct.
So the fact that they called it a catch. He was out of bounds, but whatever. But he's making good throws to receivers in locations where they can only catch it. So he's not leaving it over the middle where these guys get popped and it's an interception. So
yeah, because the interception that he did throw was a jump route. So I mean, like that's one of those
every
things,
quarterback happens.
That's a good defensive play in my book. Versus like it was a mistake, maybe. But I mean, like it's one of those things where like I didn't even see him. I'm so focused and yeah, you got to be able to dart back and forth, but you also got to make sure that you know exactly where you're going with that football. And I think I think it was just a decision that he made. You had a very good defensive play from the Bengals, and that turned into your interception.
Awesome. So we both agree that they are going to lose this next game unless they surprise us, which we'll be happily surprised.
Look, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that if the defense can play the way that they played today, the reason that they won this game was that the defense was able to overcome the mistakes of the offense, right?
Right.
Considering the fact that, when they missed that touchdown, okay, and then right away we saw Justin Fields, twitchy feet. He jumped back before he gets the ball. You know what I mean? It's just that you have to have that little bit of patience. It's like a batter going up there and swinging at it as soon as it comes out the pitcher's hand.
A little too early, bro.
Yeah. This ain't high school no more. You gotta shore that up, son. All right, y'all.
That's it.
What do you think?
I think we should wrap it up here for the Bears.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think we're really excited to see what happens with this team for the rest of the season, and we'll definitely be talking about them. We are going to sign off now, and we're going to go ahead and start recording the rest of the podcast. So go ahead and check us out, True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. New episodes every Tuesday, every topic under the sun, including Stirring the Pot, where we're going to talk We're going to talk about something interesting today. Frito-Lay's
came out with a flavor. Came with a new flavor.
Cool Ranch Dorito flavor. So that's going to be our Stirring the Pot today. We're going to talk about what we watched during the week, and we're also going to be talking about the Cubs and the White Sox. So don't forget to check us out every Tuesday morning. True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast, available on every single streaming platform. And until next time,
for the love of sports. Hey, it's like we know what we're doing here.
Except we screwed that up.